by individuals who wish to provide public comment are discouraged. Guests will be called upon under the limited public forum section of the meeting. Guests submitting a form will be acknowledged and will have 3 minutes to state their comment questions. Guests are not allowed to share their times with other guests. A total of not more than 30 minutes will be allowed for all public comment. And with that, let's consider the talk here. Ms. Stradley, can you do the honor of sharing the good things happening in the district?
It would be my pleasure. Apache Elementary School held a shoe event, and Apache Elementary hosted a successful shoe giveaway event with the San Juan County Early Childhood Coalition. Each student picked up a stylish pair of shoes for the fall season. Big thanks to SJCECC for the generous donation and to the volunteers, Save the Children, and Apache teachers for helping students find the right sizes and styles. There were classroom grant winners. Congratulations to Ms. Lisa Hawkins of Ladera del Norte Elementary and Mr. Travis Torres of Farmington High for winning the U.S. Eagles Enrich Ed Classroom Grants. Ms. Hawkins' first graders will learn about entrepreneurships with the Apple Project. Mr. Torres high school students will tackle budgeting with the food truck battle. We're proud of these educators for introducing real world skills into their classroom. The President's Award of Distinction, congratulations to Mr. Travis Jensen, Piedra Vista ceramic teacher, who will be honored with the prestigious President's Award of Distinction from the New Mexico Art Education Association. This special award is given to NMAEA members who have shown outstanding service and made significant contributions to advancing art education. November celebrates Native American Heritage Month, honoring the history and contributions of Native American, Alaska Native, Native Hawaiian, and affiliated island communities. Stay tuned for FMS Native American Programs events. November 14th is Fry Bread Day, and November 14th is Fry Bread Day, and November 18th is the Native Fashion Show at PV from 6 to 8 p.m. Jaden Anderson placed first in precision rifle with a personal best of 587 points, narrowly winning a tie against Dylan Washinawata. I hope I got that right. Both students are set for the junior ROTC Air Rifle Championships in February. A big shout out to Aslan Kern, who placed fourth in prone and kneeling in the sporter division. FMS students selected for all-state concert orchestra. Congratulations to these talented FHS students who will perform with the NMMEA All-State Concert Orchestra in January. Devin Deal, cello. Abigail Baker, violin, first violin. Mariah Collier, first violin. And Lily Spinner, second violin. That's a lot going on. When you said there was a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations, everybody.
All right, moving on to item number 4, consideration to adopt the agenda.
Madam President, I recommend the board approve the agenda as written.
Okay, motion.
So moved, Audra Stradley.
Second.
Second, Keith Worley.
All right, roll call vote. Ms. Maxwell.
Aye.
Mr. Corley.
Aye.
Aye. Ms. Stradley.
Aye.
Ms. Thompson. Aye. All right, moving on to item number 5, opportunity for guests. There are no comments, so we will move on to the next section. Item number 6, reports from the superintendent, staff, and board. Written reports were provided to the board members and are linked to this meeting's agenda. Moving on to item number 7, consent agenda.
Madam President, I recommend the board approve items 7A to 7I on the consent agenda as presented.
So moved, Maxwell. Second?
Second, Keith Corley.
Roll call vote, Ms. Well,
Aye.
Mr. Corley?
Aye.
Ms. Johnson? Aye. Ms. Thompson? Aye. Moving on to item number 8, finance and facilities. 8A, first quarter cash report presented by Ms. Mueller. Good evening.
Like, they look good on my desk and then it's such a mess on that. Let's start with the expenses. Okay, so district operational. Let me back up. We're comparing the first quarter from this year, from this current year, to the first quarter from last year, 2023. So the expenses, we had 1.8% increase in expenses for district operational. Transportation, their expenses decreased 8.8%. The ad valorem tax fund, their expenses increased this year 94.6%. Student nutrition saw a 474% increase in their expenses this year, first quarter. Athletic and non-budget had a decrease in this year's expenses of 1.5%. The grants saw an increase in their expenses of 75%. The capital funds had a decrease in their expenses of 33%, and debt service saw an increase of 2.1% in their expenses for this year. Overall, the expenses increased this year by 8% for all of the funds. I do have to say that grants, our funding, we had a $6.5 million expenses in the first quarter of this year. And we cleared out the ARC fund. It's totally expended, it's closed out, and we've been reimbursed. So we hit our September 30th, 2024 deadline. So, are there questions on the expenses?
I was wondering about this. Did the state cover the nutrition increase of 8%?
I'm not sure. I will have to.
Because I know that in the past, they saved us a lot of money, but now that we feed more kids per day and more meals,
Yes.
then I just wondered if they reimbursed us.
We do have funding that it's in a separate fund that comes from the state this year that is new.
Oh, so maybe
A
that's
lot of the biggest portion of our funding comes from USDA.
okay.
And that's those are the ones you notice when they hit the bank account.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do have a new fund for student nutrition from PPP,
Okay.
well, from the state.
And I wonder how long that's good for. Just for the year? Will it?
I'll look into that.
Mr. Gamboa, and I would say work with Bobby and get with Ms. Johnson and figure that out.
Thank you.
So the revenue. So district operational saw a 7% increase in the revenue this year. Transportation saw a 6.8% decrease in the revenue for this year. The ad valorem taxes, the revenue decreased by 25% this year. Student nutrition saw a 25% increase in their revenue for this year. The secondary athletics and non-budgeted accounts had a 101% increase in their revenue this year. The grants had a 4.2% decrease in their revenue. The capital improvement funds had a 10% decrease in their revenue this year, and the debt service funds had a 28.8% decrease in their revenue. Overall, the district had a 6% increase in revenue. Here. For our ending cash, district operational had a 63.6% increase in their ending cash this year. Transportation had a 53% increase in their ending cash. The ad valorem taxes had a 295% increase in their ending cash. Student nutrition had a decrease of 15.8% this year. The athletics and non-budget accounts had a 21% increase in their cash. The grants had a 438% increase in their cash this year. The capital improvement grant, or not grants, funds, had a 9% increase in their ending cash, and debt service had a 1.3% increase in their ending cash this year. So overall, all of the funds in the district saw a 43.7% increase in cash this first quarter compared to last year's first quarter. Questions there? Thank you.
Mr. Lynn, is this something that needs to be approved?
No, it's.
The first, it's just information only?
Yes.
Right, thank you, Ms. Gillen. Moving on to item number 9, Board of Education. 9A, consideration to approve the following auction of vehicles presented by Mr. Gamble.
So there's 2 buses that they hit their 12-year mark, and we're allowed to keep them up to 20 years if they're in our surplus. But our surplus is, we maintain our buses so well that we don't need them, so we're asking to go ahead and auction off 2 more buses. Otherwise, they're just gonna sit there.
And Mr. Gamble had a pressing issue this afternoon that he was dealing with, but the finance committee did meet.
Yes, and we recommend that we approve the sale of these buses.
There's no other need in the district anywhere else. No activities or anything.
These are
Really nice buses.
These are activity buses.
Oh,
Yeah.
And it's just.
So we're at once they hit that 12-year mark, we can't use them regularly. They're only for backups. But our surplus is so, I think we can keep up to 10 or 8, and these would be 9 and 10. So.
So the finance committee recommends, so Madam President, I recommend that the board approve the online auction of the vehicles as presented.
Great motion.
So moved, Keith Morley.
Second.
Second, maximum.
Roll call vote, Ms. Maxwell. Aye. Mr. Worley.
Aye.
Ms. Stradley.
Aye.
Ms. Thompson. Aye. We are going to 9B, review and approval of the Indian policies and procedures annual update presented by Mr. Aaron.
Yes, Dr. Garrity couldn't be here this evening. So before you are the 24-25 Indian Policies and Procedures update. Just wanted to share, this has been approved by the IEC. It mimics, actually the state and the federal government give us this language. The approval of this policy and procedure document is a prerequisite for our impact aid application. And so I think,
Yeah. Any questions?
Already attached to the agenda, look at it, so I'm good.
Okay, so Madam President, I recommend the board approve the Indian Policies and Procedures annual update as presented.
Right, motion,
So moved, Honor Stradley.
second. All seconds, Stephanie Thompson. Roll call vote, Ms. Maxwell.
Aye.
Mr. Corley.
Aye.
Ms. Stradley.
Aye.
Ms. Johnson, aye. All
Thank
right,
you.
9C, reading step, new policy G-2936. Sick leave bank policy presented by Mr. Pash.
When we switched over to the policy service, we tried to go through and make sure that they matched up with our policies. Unfortunately, I didn't look to see if there was a sick leave bank policy. We've been using the sick leave bank procedure that we've had for many years. This is a totally new policy to the policy service, but this is the same policy that was in effect for many, many years at Farmington Schools. There's no changes to it. I just need to make sure that we put it into the policy.
So I'm hearing you say that this is from the old language, our old policy, it didn't get put into the policy, the new policy. So this is a reading editing step. No changes from what's been in place for a long time. So you can take the month to review it. If you have any questions or concerns, you can.
So they'll just amend it.
Once you approve it, we'll put it in as a new page, new number, new page in the service schedule.
They ask a really good question. So when you said procedure, saying procedure, now we're making it to a policy.
No, it was a policy. When we switched to the policy service, they didn't have anything in there about sick leave bank.
Okay.
I didn't notice it until somebody asked me a question about the sick leave bank policy. And I said, oh, it's not in the board policy. I need to get the board to approve it, to put it back in there.
Okay. Thank you.
Madam President, Lisa Maxwell, I have some questions on this bank, I guess, sick leave bank entity, or I'm not sure. It looks like it has a membership and,
Right.
and then donations can be made from any pay level to another pay level.
Is that the next policy, not this one?
This isn't,
The leave donation policy?
yeah, they're not related.
Well, the sick leave bank does have a membership. You can choose to join it or not join it. When you come in as a new employee, you have to give up 2 days. And then for the next 2 years, you give up 1 day. That's how the bank gets the days in it to give to people that have catastrophic illnesses.
Okay,
Now, the donation one that we're gonna do next is about donating to different people based upon their classification and their job.
okay, because I see them one and the same. or
Well,
something.
they're similar, but there is a sick leave bank. Okay, and that's a number of days that can be donated to a person for a catastrophic illness. Then there's sick leave donation. That's where somebody with a catastrophic illness who may not be part of the bank says, I need 20 days, I have cancer. And then they request donations from their fellow employees.
Okay, I think I'll save my question when we get there,
Okay.
the next.
All right, so we're done with 9C.
Yeah,
All right, we'll go to 9D.
It was 9, yes, D.
D. So reading staff changes to policy T-3134, leave donation policy submitted by Mr. Ash.
okay, so for this one, the policy service had a couple of sentences there that we need to, excuse me, that we need to look at changing because they state that only a teacher can donate to a teacher. Only, for example, Bobby and Nate, and myself are all at one level, and we can only donate to each other. And as Mr. Deal pointed out today, no one can donate to him because there's no one at his level.
Okay,
And I would like to ask the board to consider taking that language out. If a teacher wants to donate days to an EA, I don't think that they should be prohibited. What's that?
Yeah, there shouldn't be a designation.
Well, and that's what that language that I'm asking to strike out says. Did that answer your question about?
So this policy service is coming from the PED?
No, it comes from the School Board Association.
Okay,
So recommended policies that we should be using, but we've noticed that there are some things that we want to make sure are in our policies.
okay, so are we talking about the unpaid leave yet? The unpaid family medical leave? Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, so that is a federal law of unpaid leave, correct?
So federal law says we have to grant FMLA
Yes,
for up to 12 weeks.
of unpaid,
Well,
or,
it's unpaid unless they have leave, in which case they can get paid.
okay. So for the last at least 3 years, the state has been trying to pass a state version of this to be paid. How will that affect this policy, if at all? If those are two different levels now.
I don't know, I'm not gonna get into prediction business, but I will say this. We have a lot of people that take FMLA for various medical reasons. We have a lot of employees. I don't think our percentages are any higher than other places, but if they were to pass a bill that had paid leave for these 12 weeks, I believe we would see an increase of employees with medical conditions that cause them not to come to work. I don't know.
We don't know, we have to wait to see, because
We
it,
would have to wait and see if they pass that. If they do, then we're probably gonna have to change our policy again.
because it only failed by 2 votes. So that's the closest I've ever seen it.
And if it does pass, then we're gonna have to look at everything we have. And I'm sure the policy service will send out their suggested policy based upon the new legislation.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons we joined the policy service, is to make sure that when they pass new legislation, that we're, because sometimes bills pass and you don't notice these little things that are in them. And we want to make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing.
Okay, so they take care of that, the
Yes,
service, but we don't have to make sure that we're in compliance.
right. They would recommend to us, hey, if you have a sick leave bank policy, here's what it's gotta look like now.
Okay. Let them do it. Yep. But it's good to have these in there.
Well, it allows our employees to donate their days. And I know there's a lot of people with catastrophic illnesses that have been able to, survive and come back because they know that there's light at the end of the tunnel and they're still working for us. That's my big issue is I don't want to take that away from people because that's their hope. Is they can get back to being a teacher, whatever they do.
And people want to support other teachers.
Our staff is very generous in donating days. And somebody asked me the other day, can I just give Napier and Tony 100 days? And the answer is no. Napier and Tony has to have a medical issue that's documented, and then you can only donate 20 days.
So there is a limit.
There's a limit. You could receive 100 days if 5 people donated 20 days, but. Any other questions for me?
So this is the reading stuff and then we'll vote on it next.
Correct. Well, I'm hoping that our employees read through this.
Yeah.
And if somebody has a question or concern, send them to me, because I think this only benefits our employees. This isn't trying to change something that's not for their benefit. Because I had a teacher this year that wanted to donate to an EA that was in her classroom. And I forget what the situation was, but we told her we couldn't by the policies now, but when we get it changed, if we get it changed, then we could.
Is there a hurry? Could we vote on it today?
Just our board policy says that we have a reading editing step.
Oh, that's.
We could, but I would have had to put it on the agenda. We would have had to have the reading editing in, so it's not on the agenda that way.
I would like to have the 2 steps, because if there's something that people don't like or that we
Between
need
now
to
and then.
adjust, they'll let me know.
Good.
And I can bring it back to you and say, here's why we changed this, if you want to approve it.
But to answer your question, in case of need and emergency to change policy within a month, yes, we can do that. Just, we get planned
We
for
didn't
that.
plan for
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions?
All right, moving on to item number 10, advanced planning, November 25th to 29th. Thanksgiving break, all office closed, December 10th, 2024, work session and board meeting, and December 12th to the 14th, New Mexico School Board Association annual convention. And with that, it's a motion to adjourn, and adjourn, spoken by. All right, second. Second. All right, roll call vote. Mr. Corley.
Aye.
Ms. Stradley? Aye. Ms. Thompson, aye. Thank you.